ever seen a movie with an ending that explains the entire story, sometimes making the supposed hero the actual villain? Today we will be checking out the top 20 more horror movie plot twists. Watch out though, because there will be lots of spoilers in this video. Number 20. Happy Death Day. When a college student named Tree finds herself stuck in a time loop where she keeps getting murdered by a masked stranger and waking back up at the start of the day, she decides to use the situation to find out who her killer was. Turns out it was a serial killer on the loose. After killing the serial killer, she decides to celebrate with the cupcake her roommate Lori gave her earlier that day, goes to bed, and finds herself right back in the loop. She then realized that Lori had poisoned the cake and had been trying to kill her the whole time. This takes roommate trouble to a whole new level, doesn't it? Number 19. The Boy. Little doll children offer a special factor in horror movies that's hard to replicate by any other plot. In the movie The Boy, Greta travels to the United Kingdom to work as a nanny for an elderly couple and their 8-year-old son, Brahms. But as it turns out, Brahms was not in fact a real boy, but a porcelain doll the couple likes to think is alive, following the death of their son. Certain unusual happenings in the house begin to convince Greta that the doll may actually have a human soul. But when someone smashes the doll, the real Brahms emerges from within the walls of the house, and it is revealed that he has been the one controlling the doll the whole time. Number 18. April Fool's Day. Typically, you would expect a horror twist to involve the revelation of an unexpected villain, but this slasher takes things to a whole different level. When bodies begin to pile up at a party thrown by a couple of old college friends, everyone pitches in to try to solve the mystery. Imagine our surprise when it was revealed that there was never a killer in the first place, and the entire movie was an elaborate rehearsal for a murder mystery night. Now that's a unique kind of twist. Number 17. The Visit. In this epic horror movie, director M. Night Shyamalan delivers another chilling twist to an already complicated story. After a seemingly simple weekend with their grandparents, Becca and Tyler are shocked to find out that those weren't their real grandparents. Suddenly, every strange occurrence the siblings had experienced in the house began to make sense. The revelation also added more tension to the already precarious situation. Number 16. Orphan. After adopting a young girl named Esther, Kate and John struggle to get their family to blend right together. But this new addition to the family came with a perfectly crafted game plan to manipulate and terrorize the family. In one of the most shocking reveals you've probably ever seen, Esther, whose real name was Lena, turned out to be a 33-year-old woman who's suffering from a proportional dwarfism that makes her look like a child. But that's not all. This newly adopted baby was also a cold-blooded killer. Pretty terrifying, right? Number 15. American Psycho. Who could forget Patrick Bateman, an American investment banker and serial killer who goes on a murderous rampage, torturing and murdering a couple of people in the most brutal way possible? But as it turned out, the writers of American Psycho had a little trick up their sleeves. Towards the end of the film, as Patrick tries to confess to his numerous murders, he learns that one of his victims, whom he was definitely sure he murdered with an axe, was very much alive. As a matter of fact, Patrick never actually killed anyone, and it was all in his head. Didn't really see that one coming now, did you? Number 14. Life. One plot twist most people didn't really see coming was the last act of this 2007 sci-fi horror film, Life. After failing to contain a dangerous life form from Mars, David and Miranda are the only members of the crew left. They both decide that David will kill the alien in space, while Miranda will head back to Earth. But instead of Miranda, it was actually David and the alien who were able to make it safely back to the planet. The movie ends with David pleading with the people who find him not to ever open the pod, or they will unleash terrible havoc on the Earth. Number 13. Good Night, Mommy. This one is probably one of the saddest twists you've seen in a while. Plus, it's pretty clever. Good Night, Mommy follows the story of twins Elias and Lucas, who become convinced that their mother is not their real mother after she returns from surgery wrapped in bandages. Following a string of strange events, the two decide to tie the mother in the house and burn it to the ground. The mother then reveals to Elias that Lucas was actually dead before the movie even started, and that Elias has been hallucinating the whole time. This twist gives you a new perspective on the characters and the storyline as a whole. Number 12. The Wickerman. Before the movie was remade with Nicolas Cage and immortalized as a meme, the original Wickerman from 1973 was the epitome of British horror stories. It follows the story of a detective who arrives at a small town on a remote island after a little girl is declared missing. His greatest fear at first was that the girl had been a victim of a ritual killing. But things soon took a deadly turn after it was revealed that no girl was actually missing. The whole plot was to lure the detective himself to the island to serve as the sacrifice. Number 11. The Others. This movie was set in 1945 on the Channel Island of Jersey and follows the story of Grace and her two children who begin to suspect that their house might actually be haunted after another family moves into the house. But in a really shocking twist, it turned out that Grace and her two children were the actual ghosts who were haunting the house, and the new family were actually alive. But there's more. Apparently, Grace was actually responsible for her children's murder. That definitely puts things in a new perspective. Number 10. Get Out. This next twist not only terrifies the audience, but it also casts the entire plot in a new light. Get Out follows the story of Chris, who meets his girlfriend's family for the first time. But something seemed odd about this friendly family, and Chris was just about to find out. As the plot thickens, Chris is hypnotized, and by the time he wakes up, he's bound to a chair, with the videotape informing him that his brain would be removed so a rich old white guy could have his body instead. Now that's just downright bizarre. Number 9. The Ring. This 2002 remake of the Japanese horror sensation made sure that we never saw TV statics the same way ever again. After successfully putting the vengeful spirit of a dead child to rest, the protagonist of this movie believed that terrible times were over, but they forgot a tiny little detail, which was that they made a copy. So once again, we were back to the beginning, and Samara's ghost is back to haunt everyone, because she was never really put to rest in the first place. Number 8. The Cabin in the Woods. During a cabin trip, friends Marty and Dana encounter some terrifying zombies before discovering a massive facility full of monsters right beneath the cabin. But there was a more surprising twist lurking beneath. As it later turns out, the whole terrifying experience was an elaborate ritual to appease a group of elder gods whose sole desire was to see groups of teenagers meet their demise over and over. Needless to say, this twist shines a new light on the many mysteries that viewers had tried to solve earlier in the movie. Number 7. Saw. Two men find themselves chained in a filthy bathroom with a corpse between them and a hacksaw each. The only way to escape the horrors was to take the hacksaw to their own ankle. After much gore and bloodshed, it later turned out that Jigsaw himself had orchestrated the entire thing and had been in the room from the very beginning, masquerading as the corpse lying between the two men. What a twisted fantasy, right? Number 6. Jacob's Ladder. This 1990 film perfectly merged a war movie with a horrific undertone. The plot follows the story of Jacob, a Vietnam War veteran who flashes back and forth between life during and after his time in the military. Following a number of bizarre and disturbing events, it was later revealed that Jacob had been dead throughout the movie. Everything the audience had seen was a hallucinatory, horrifying dream Jacob was experiencing in the last moments of his life. Number 6. Jacob's Ladder. This 1990 film perfectly merged a war movie with a horrific undertone. The plot follows the story of Jacob, a Vietnam War veteran who flashes back and forth between life during and after his time in the military. Following a number of bizarre and disturbing events, it was later revealed that Jacob had been dead throughout the movie. everything the audience had seen was a hallucinatory, horrifying fever dream Jacob was experiencing in the last moments of his life. Number 4. Us. After a narrow escape from her tethered clone, with her life and family fairly intact, Adelaide seemed to be free from the horrors. Except there was one tiny detail that was kept from the audience from the very beginning of the movie. Turns out the woman that we've been following from the beginning of the movie is actually the tethered. Apparently, Adelaide and her tethered were switched during childhood, which meant that the raspy-voiced Red was actually the original. Number 3. Black Christmas. This 1970s Canadian slasher follows some residents of a sorority house who were plagued by a couple of disturbing phone calls that result in mysterious murders. As investigators tried to figure out what was going on, a telephone company employee successfully traced the location of the mysterious caller. Turns out the killer was right inside the house and Jess was far from being safe despite the fact that she was indoors and under police surveillance. Number 2. Rosemary's Baby. Throughout this movie, Rosemary suspects that her neighbors are part of a satanic cult, trying to use her unborn child for evil. But after giving birth, Rosemary was told the baby was a stillborn. But in the last scene, a shocking revelation unfolds. Turns out the baby was very much alive. Rosemary's husband wasn't the real father, and the most shocking of all, Rosemary had just given birth to the Antichrist. Number 1. A Tale of Two Sisters. At the beginning of this movie, Sumi leaves a mental institution, heading home to her father, stepmother, and sister Suyeon. The dynamics of the family seemed a bit strange, to say the least, and as it turned out, Sumi was actually suffering from a dissociative identity disorder. Apparently, Suyeon was actually a ghost and a figment of Sumi's imagination. This takes things to a whole different level. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.